Hello, I'm Hope from embroidery.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to close an embroidery hoop using running stitch. So I've got all 6 strands of cotton embroidery floss here. You can use really however many strands you like, and I think I have about 16 inches threaded on my needle, and I do not have a knot at the end. What I'm going to do is start by bringing my needle down through my fabric and then back up a short distance. And then you can go ahead and pull, leaving a tail like that. Then I'm gonna bring my needle back down through my fabric, that same distance. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're not gonna see this part. And up, and I could continue pulling as I go like I would do if I was doing running stitch on the hoop. Or you can do this sewing method where you're going up and down a few times. And these first few rounds, you want to make sure you don't pull too hard because you might pull that tail out. That noise in the background is my dog. This is a good method to use for when you don't want to glue or you don't want to do the cardboard trick. And another pro of this technique is that you can always cut it out and redo it if you need to, or if you need to fix anything on your hoop. But there are a few potential cons that I'll show you at the very end once I'm done, because I can't show you right now because it won't make any sense. Now, one characteristic of this technique that could be a pro or a con depending on how quickly you can stitch is that for some people this might be a really fast way to close a hoop, so you might be faster than me, and for others it might be a little bit more slow than other techniques. It really depends on practice and preference. It can also be a little bit more difficult depending on the fabric that you're using. So for this project I used a linen blend fabric that's super soft, which makes this a bit easier than if I were using something like a thicker flannel or a denim. All right, once I've made it to the end here, I'm gonna bring my needle up, and you can see I've left a distance between where that initial tail was and where I'm coming up. And these are pretty short, so I'm not gonna trim them just yet. I'm going to flip my hoop over. Oh, you can see how messy this hoop is. Hold one end, one tail, and with the other one, start pulling. That's another pro. This is a very satisfying way to finish a hoop. Now that I've got about that far, I'm gonna hold this tail down and pull the other, and then you can start to pull them together. Now it's still a little bit loose, so what I'm gonna do is tie a simple knot, and as you tie the knot, it'll get even tighter. Now I will double knot it and grab some scissors to trim off these tails. So a super simple way to finish a hoop. Let's just talk about the cons here for 1 second. One is that one potential con, it really depends on your fabric, how closely you made those stitches and everything, is that you may find that it doesn't lay quite perfectly flat. That just depends on so many different factors, but if that's something that's going to bother you, you might want to try a different backing method. The other is that, now this doesn't affect me because I hang all my hoops on the wall, but if you want to have your hoop sitting against something where sunlight might be hitting it in the back, it's kind of hard to tell on this fabric, but depending on the fabric, you may be able to see those traveling threads shoot through to the front. Another thing that it can do is create an effect where you have sort of a circle of light in the middle of your hoop where your fabric isn't covering, but that might not be a problem if you're hanging it from your wall. So that is how you back a hoop using running stitch. Happy stitching!